Call this meeting of the West Haymarket JPA to order. To my left is Councilwoman Tammy Ward, and to my right is Regent Tim Clare. This is a public meeting subject to the State Open Meetings Act, a copy of which is located in the back of our chambers. For the order of business, the clerk will read each item on the agenda, and staff will then come forward and make a presentation. Public comment will be taken, and each public comment speaker, if they could please state their name and address for the record, and note that testimony is limited to 5 minutes on each item. And with that, if you could please call the first item, Casey.
Item number 3, approval of the minutes from the JPA meeting held January 15th, 2020.
It's so moved.
Second.
Moved by Ward, second by Claire. Any discussion on the minutes? All right, seeing none, please call a vote on that item.
Roll call?
Yes.
Okay. Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
and Claire. Okay, the next item. Item number 4, approval of December 2019 and January 2020 payment registers and review of the December 2019 and January 2020 expenditure reports.
Good afternoon. You have before you your December 2019 payment register that has total operating expenditures of $7,458,729. Just some highlights of that payment register. We have $250,500, and those were costs related to the issuance of bonds. So we just refinanced the 2011 series bond. That refinancing will save us about $12.2 million over the life of the bonds. So those are continued issuance costs that are still rolling in on those bonds. In addition,
That $12 million that you said it will save us, that is net savings, correct?
yes, that's all net, yeah, after the cost of issuance and everything. Yep. In addition, we also have the bond payments. There were a total of $5,317,583 for December payments. So those are for the 2010 A and B, C, and 2013 bonds. So mostly interest, but there is one principal payment there on the 2013 bonds. We have a payment, we have Q1, so it's the first quarter payment for staffing costs that the JPA pays to the city of $100,378. The $88,816, yes, sorry.
So the $100,000 that expense to city staff was for work that city attorneys and others do. Can you oh, sorry. Can you is that an average, or is that we talked in the years past about doing time tickets and things, so you show exactly the time placed in it, because on both sides, I would assume the city side as well as from the JPA side, that we need to make sure that we're being accurate in terms of what we're being required to pay, but also the city needs to be compensated for their time as well.
Yeah, so I think there's various metrics for that. I know, like city attorney is time-based. When the JPA started, for example, in finance, there were positions added, like an accountant, and then also individuals in the treasurer's office, because finance collects all of the occupation taxes throughout the city that help pay off the bonds for the arena. So some of it's time-based. For example, in purchasing, that was one thing in the past couple of years we've lowered down, and we've got formulas that we've worked out with JPA, the PBC, the county, and also the city that try to split those costs out evenly between all those entities. So there's numerous measures that we're tracking to show the amount of time and effort that's being dedicated by JPA staff city staff to the JPA.
JPA.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And we look at that typically every 2 years as we're going through the city's budget process to set those figures out for the upcoming 2 budget years.
Okay.
The next item I want to point out, we had 88,816 payments. That was for the installation of the security cameras that the board approved. We had $281,540 for the quarter Q1 sponsorship. So that is all of the IMG sponsorship revenue that's generated by the arena comes over to the JPA side, and then we funnel that back to the arena. And then there's $150,000 for the first quarter operating increment. The arena repair and maintenance, we have a couple months in there, so those total $63,314. And then we had parking management cost of $121,118. That was for 1 month of those services.
Brandon, did you mean quarter 2 on this payment register for those sponsorship? Is that right?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct. Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So with that, if there's not any questions on the payment register, in addition, you've got statements of revenues and expenditures for the JPA as of December 31st, 2019 in your packet. We had total revenues of $11.2 million, expenditures of $19.3 for a net deficit year-to-date of $8 million for an ending balance of $36.6. A lot of that's related to, revolves around our discussion with the refinancing and the fact that we had to pay cash for our refinancing costs, where those are typically rolled in to a refinancing cost, but because of state law changes previously, we had to pay the cash out the door. So that's why you're seeing a little bit of a deficit there through the year. That will improve as we go along through our fiscal year. SMG also had a statement for December 31st, 2019. They had revenues of $1.6 million, expenditures of $1.7 million for about a deficit of $172,000. They have an ending balance in their surplus account of $710,000. Any questions on December? If not, okay. January payment register. So January we had a total of $912,473 in operating expenditures. We had the $12,000 for our audit review by BKD. That's the payment out for that. We had about a total of $19,491 for PC Sports management for the various projects going on through the JPA. $24,825 for the maintenance type issues at the arena, with the $30,870 for the streetscape associated with the Olson Phase 2 project. We had 2 months worth of DEC payments that came through in January, so those total $425,396. About 31% of that's paid by the JPA, about $132,000. Then about 69% is then paid back to the JPA by customers within the footprint, and that would be about $293,000. We had the management bonus to SMG that's based off the contract that they can earn up to what their management fee is within their contract, and there's set metrics that they have to hit. And that's all based off the metrics that we measure on an annual basis.
Can I go back to the DEC?
Yes.
You said, I think I heard you say 69% is then charged back to the private sector?
Yes, that is correct.
And is Olson and the Olson 2.0, is that online yet?
I don't know if that's... Still under construction. Still, okay. So still under construction.
Goes online, what will that percentage go up to?
I'd have to come back. I can look at that and get that answer to you. But definitely as more buildings go on, the potential splits.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
If you could just let me know, I'd be interested. In
Okay,
doing that.
yep, will do. In addition, there was a payment for JPA parking garage management for $192,406. So those were kind of the major payments. All of those expenditures are reflected within the payment registers that you have, and expenditure reports. And then you also have in your packet a statement of revenues, expenditures, and fund balance for the JPA as of January 30th. We had revenues of 13.3 million, expenditures of 20.3 for a deficit of 7 million, with an ending balance of 38.4 million. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any further questions for Mr. Kaufman? Okay.
Occupation taxes through January 31st are up 4.57%, so we're still ahead of original projections. That's 27% over the original, which corresponds with the year 2032. So, as you know, we use a 2% inflator on our forecasting models for the JPA, so we're ahead of that this year as well.
Brandon, Madam Chair, for me, did you say up 27% from projections? Is that what you mean?
That was from the original projections that were
Yep.
put in place
Okay.
when the JPA started, so
Right.
we're doing a lot better than we had originally estimated.
Thank you.
I think the good news on that is that, of course, the 27% is great, but the 4.57% for the last month.
Cumulative over last January.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Above what we had budgeted for it too.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone from the public like to testify on these items?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. So where is most of the occupation tax coming from? Like restaurants, from PBA, or what?
I think the majority of the the largest percentage of the occupation taxes come from restaurants.
Restaurants?
Yes.
Even though our rest number is declining?
Well, as you can see, we're up 4.57% compared to the last January. So even if I can't tell you if restaurants are declining or not, but we're still collecting more occupation tax revenue.
Okay. So that would like be hotel restaurants and not freestanding restaurants?
Any type of restaurant.
Restaurant,
Yes.
okay.
And bars.
Yes. Thank
And
you.
bars. Occupation tax on liquor?
I don't think there's an occupation tax on liquor.
It's on drinks
Just
Yeah.
on food?
Yeah.
and beverages.
So food in bars, huh?
Any restaurant, or bar within the corporate limits of the city. In addition, hotels and also rental vehicles.
Yeah, I know there's others. I'm just trying to figure out where most of it's coming from.
Yeah, and we can provide you a breakdown with the percentage between
Okay,
the different categories.
okay. For the year or for the month or what?
We can provide it through the year
Okay.
that we have closed so far.
And what fund are you planning to use for paying your big December payment on the bonds?
Well, those payments were made in December, so it comes within, we have a fund set up for the JPA where all the revenues come in from the various sources, occupation taxes or premium seat rentals.
So it just doesn't come out of one of these funds that you've listed or budgets. it just sort of a hodgepodge?
No, we have specific object codes that are set up, so, that are set up to track bond principal and interest payments, if that's what you're asking. We track all revenues by code type, and then also all of our expenditures, we code to certain things.
Yeah, what I'm getting at, is there any specific place in the budget that you will use the money for this big bond payment, the first principal and interest that's coming up? Or is it just a balance that you'll use?
It's the total overall collective revenues of the JPA. So,
Okay.
It's occupation taxes
Collective.
and premium seat rentals and,
Okay.
the reimbursement from the IRS for the Build America bonds, TIF investment revenues that we have. So it's the collective revenues that come in to help the collective expenditures, including the debt expenditures, which are the largest for the JPA.
Okay. But on this budget,
One
you
minute.
could not see that.
That's a statement of expenditures, so, but if you look at in the packet, there's the statement of revenues and expenditures and balances. That's
Okay.
kind of the report that shows you the total revenues and then expenditures underneath, so it gives you that collective look.
Okay. But it's on this
It's within the packet, yes.
packet?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak to this item? All right, if there's no further discussion, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved on item number 4.
Second.
All right, moved by Ward and seconded by Claire for approval of the payment registers. Please call the roll.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Claire?
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. Next item, item number 5, WH 20-8, resolution to approve the 5th addendum to the energy service agreement between the West Haymarket JPA and District Energy Corporation for service to Canopy Park at Canopy Street and West O Street.
Jeff Kirkpatrick, City Attorney. This resolution is just a adoption of a standard addendum with the District Energy Corporation as the JPA area develops. We just add the new buildings to the agreement with the DEC for them to provide heating and air conditioning. So this is for the Block 4 development. The terms are all standard. There's no change from the earlier agreement with the District Energy Corporation. There is no financial impact with this agreement. It doesn't set rates or estimates of how much energy will be brought online. It just says the DEC will provide the energy for the new development.
Any question?
Yeah, I don't have any issues with this, but doesn't that go without saying? Because if they're in the footprint, DEC is supposed to provide the service anyway, right?
But this is a recognition of the specific buildings.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So
But yes, you're right. I mean, it's not like you could, for example, buy a portion of a block and build a building without agreeing to be served by the DEC.
yeah, and that's what this is.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone like to testify on this item?
Jean Kinsey with Watchdogs. So this is not, they have no buildings or anything yet, right?
Correct.
How do they know what they're really going to need, or is this just a general?
This is just a general agreement as to, they'll get their heating and cooling from the DEC.
Okay,
Yeah.
so nobody knows exactly what the amount will be or anything like that.
Correct.
Okay, it's just a general agreement for that.
Exactly. And it's not even a new agreement, it's just an addendum adding this specific area to the existing agreement.
To that place. Okay, thank you.
Okay, would anyone else like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I would move approval of item number 5.
Second.
Moved by Ward, seconded by Claire. Is there any other discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Claire?
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. Next item, item number 6, WH 20-9, resolution to approve a consultant agreement between the West Haymarket JPA and 5 Nines Technology Group for information technology services at the Pinnacle Bank Arena for a term of 3 years for an amount not to exceed $192,182.
Good afternoon. I'm Tom Lorenz, General Manager with Pinnacle Bank Arena. The resolution that you're looking at with 5 Nines allows them to come in and do technology services for us. The arena is a very unique building, and the data needs are significant. As opposed to maybe a general business that would have a technology partner that would come in and help and work beside them, ours reaches out to multiple different areas, and it's a much broader range of business services that we need from 5 Nines. Things like Ticketmaster, Quest Point of Sale, video walls, IPT, Internet Protocol TV programming, variable menu boards, ribbon boards, sound equipment, IP phone system, email service, accounting software. We run a large wireless network that serves over 8,000 people simultaneously. All of this is done under PCI compliance, which helps us protect credit cards. We provide VPNs. There's media interface. Earlier, or last week, or last month, you talked about the CCT cameras that we put in, and so our technology network puts all that together. TV truck needs, fire alarms, HVAC. There's a lot of stuff that happens, and so 5 Nines has been a great partner. 5 Nines was one of the initial companies to install all this equipment, and so the historic amount of information that they have that deals with our servers, that deals with all the types of upgrades that we need, all of the security updates, they've been extremely great to work with, and they have all that information. Changing to someone else would be a significant step back and would take, really would probably be quite a bit more expensive.
Questions for Mr. Lawrence?
Does this consulting also include like the security as far as the metal detectors?
Those aren't on our network. Those are offline, so we do those internally. If we had issues, they would certainly be able to help us, but it doesn't. We don't tie those security pieces into what would be our broader network.
Okay.
Mayor? So Tom, does this, I know it would be quite different, does this include Pinewood Bowl as well?
Our technology needs at Pinewood Bowl are more rudimentary.
Okay.
And so we do have, we have internet service at that point, but it's a way of a step back. And so if we need their technology expertise, they would certainly provide it to us as part of what we do.
Okay.
But it's, again, it's more of a consulting type service, and it really stands beside our staff, and we can use them daily. One thing I didn't mention is that they do help with desktop software. We just uploaded everything into Microsoft 10, so all those type of things, they're there for all of that.
Support, et cetera.
Correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
In this contract, will 5 Nines be helping you think through any cybersecurity concerns or protections you may be looking at?
Definitely, and all the different systems we have will have different security updates, and so they're the ones that really watch those, and remotely they can make sure all the updates are up to date. All those things are brought in. We also work very closely with UNL, so they help us interface with UNL. The firewalls actually live at University of Nebraska. Their firewalls are better. We share FanXP with the stadium, which is our internet service, which is our wireless service. So yeah, it is so complex, and the great part about them is that they have service technicians that have got large venue help or large venue experience, also experience with UNL, and so we have a team now that helps us interface with all those different pieces.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Tom. Great job.
Would anyone else like to comment on this item?
Kinsey with Watchdogs. So, was this bid out?
So this was done as a sole source. You can go back out and bid, or you can also apply for sole source. And as we made the application to extend this contract, we gave the reasons why for sole source. And a lot of what I just said talked about the ability for 5 nines to be integral with us and to go out, and if you bid it and ended up with a low bid company, either they wouldn't be able to do it, or we would be probably several years to try to catch up to a level of technology that we would need.
What are you talking about, sole source?
Through bidding, and Bob Walla would tell you as you go through here that the ability, you can bid certain things just back with a single source, that without going out to multiple different entities bidding on something.
Okay. Now, is this something he told you is a state law?
This is part of the city-county process for purchasing, and it is allowed within that, within those rules. And we're not the only person that uses it. The city uses sole source for certain entities also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I realize you. This is a city behavior. I guess the issue is it far beyond what the state law allows?
Jane, I don't know. I couldn't comment on the comparison between city-county purchasing and the state law, but I can tell you that your concern would be, did we get a good deal? And yes, we were well within what would be a business norm for this type of service.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess if we're talking about the use of taxpayers' money and being careful about it, efficient, appropriate, and so forth, there is question about that.
And when you do this, if you brought on another company, it wouldn't be a very efficient use because of all the extra time and money that would be spent to try to get a company up to speed so they can do what we need to have them do. Also, we have our network down and we lose events. That causes more of a loss than it would be to continue services with someone who provides great service to us.
Uh-huh. Is there proof of that?
No, because we haven't gone down yet.
Okay.
Service has been working since we started.
So this would be your word or Bob Waller's word, not proof?
I don't know how to answer that, Jane.
Hmm?
I don't know how you would prove that. You could say that about anything, I would think.
Well, it seems like there ought to be some kind of proof as to whether taxpayers' money is being spent appropriately, or if that there ought to be some check or surveillance on that.
I think the City-County Purchasing Act is the legislation that would govern that to make sure that your concern is addressed so that proper procedures are followed so that taxpayers' money is protected.
Okay. Well, we have question about that. And we've asked the state auditor to look into it. Specifically certain things about purchasing and about following guidelines for that, and they've agreed to do that for us. We've brought up before issues about how the money is being spent and rolling contracts over and over with the same people, not getting bids for it. And so we believe that this needs to be checked out by an outside audit. And they're the ones who would be appropriate to do that if it's not paid for another private company to do that. So we'll see how that turns out.
Would anyone else like to testify? All right. Seeing none, I entertain a motion on item number 6.
I would move approval of item number 6.
Second.
Moved by Ward, second by Claire. Any further discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Claire?
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. Next item, item number 7, WH 20-10, resolution to approve a contract between the West Haymarket JPA and Musco Sports Lighting to replace lights and fixtures and install a new lighting control system at the Pinnacle Bank Arena for an amount not to exceed $737,476.
So we're asking to allow us to award a contract to Musco Sports Lighting. They are the lowest responsive bidder. This was a bid project. Over 19 people showed up to the pre-bid to look at the project. What we're essentially doing is the sports lighting within the arena. It was a metal halide system. When the arena was built, LED technology was not ready. Now we're about 6.5 years into the project, and LED lighting is a more efficient lighting, cooler, lasts longer, better light. It is dimmable, and so by replacing these fixtures, we allow not only to have consistency with our light, we have a much it's a lighting system that you can fully dim instead of a mechanical dimming on it. I'm going to use my visual aid. Just so you see right now, the sport light we have, this is a metal halide bulb, and this is a 1,000-watt metal halide bulb, and we have, 96 fixtures like that?
We have 196.
196 fixtures. And so these are either all on or all off, and the mechanical, so that even when you're dimmed out black, these are still burning at full. The LEDs allow you to dim all the way from 0 to 100%. They're much more efficient. The savings right off the top by going from the metal halide to the LED, it's over 16,000 in KW savings, and then another 14 to 15,000 in annual savings on not replacing the bulbs and the labor to replace the bulbs. This is a $130 bulb, and it lasts anywhere from 1 to 3 years. So we're replacing those on a regular basis, and that's what we will not be doing anymore. The bulbs that we're looking, or the lighting that we'll have has 3 different systems. One is just a pure white sport lighting. Another is what we call a dimmable white, which allows us to get, LED light is very white. This allows us to get some yellows in there for a walk-in look. And then there is some red, green, blue fixtures also that also have white that will allow us to do some color washes within it. These also, the bid also replaces aisle lighting, and we have aisle lighting for safety. Those bulbs, or those fixtures are already up there. They're called Source 4 bulbs. It's a incandescent bulb. Those are replaced, and so they'll last for a long time. Like I said, these last 1 to 3 years. The LED lighting that we're replacing with has an 81,000 hour lifespan. If we burn them heavily full, that's multiple years. We're probably looking at 17 to 18 years on the LED before it goes from 100% to 95%, so it lasts even much longer than that. There's a lot we could talk about. Any questions I could answer specifically for you guys?
Technology is changing, has with respect to going from that bulb to the LED lighting. What's next?
This LED will work for a while. There's a lot of different applications they can do, particularly with the dimming and the colors. The colors are brighter. One of the things I didn't mention is that when you do TV lighting within the arena, that different broadcasts would like to have some different color temperatures. And it's called a Kelvin temperature, and so the LEDs allow you to more directly address those color temperatures that you want. And also, if you're doing a dinner or a banquet or something, allows you to bring some different colors into that, so it's not a bright white. LED is what you see from most of the entertainment lighting at this point, plus you see it all over the city. You're seeing LED lights for street lights and everything else. Much less labor, no heat, long life of the bulbs, and it's a technology that is a very green technology, and we're very happy to be able to be part of the process of bringing it to the city.
You mentioned performers, and is this one of the requirements that they've got coming, or is it something that they'd like to have, and when they hear that we've got it, that makes them, and I'm just thinking of the lights that are going off during shows.
The shows will bring their own, and so they're bringing their own technologies there. This probably deals more with sport lighting that we would have for basketball, for Monster Jam, for other things that we do within there. And then just the everyday lighting that we would have on pre-game, post-game, or any event that we would be doing within the building. The entertainment, the bands that come in have truckloads of equipment, and that's largely gone to LED lighting also.
Just curious if you happen to know sort of what the estimated dollar savings will be just associated with the energy savings.
Sure. Ryan, who's my director of ops, has worked closely with LES, and we've done some estimating to see, just by changing these bulbs and not even taking into effect the fact that these can run at a lower percentage, we know right off the bat the KW savings is almost half. That will relate back to about $16,000 a year in energy savings. And the fact that those bulbs have an 81,000 hour life. We're not changing these out every year. That's about 14 to 16,000 per year that we're not spending in new bulbs and the labor to change those out. Plus, we recycle these, and so there's a cost to recycle these bulbs. We won't have that cost anymore either. So it's not a 2-year payback, but it is a good payback on those pieces of equipment. And they are, it's the newest technology, so we're going to be set for a long time.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, would anyone like to testify on this item?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. Why wasn't LED put in there in the first place?
In 2012 and 2013, the LED technology was not ready for an arena. There was only one building in the country, and it was a hockey arena up in Ontario that was just beginning to use LED lighting. And so that it wasn't a finished technology, but over the last 6 years, it has become standard. And not only do you see sports facilities, but also office buildings, city buildings, baseball parks, all these different things, the technology is finally there.
So where was that located, where they had it?
The one place they had, it was a sports facility in Canada. I think it was Ontario.
In Ontario?
Yeah.
And so nobody thought about having that done at that time then?
No, we actually did think about it. And as we looked at the technology, it wasn't a finished technology. It was very new. It was untested. There weren't large facilities making it. And so nobody missed the boat. They talked about it. But when the building is built, metal halide was the best option at the time. And as things change and get better, LED technology is where we need to be at this point.
Okay. So this is like $250,000. How long is it supposed to last?
The fixtures.
What happens if the JPA can't afford to continue to pay for your requests?
The technology that will be installed, the bulbs and the fixtures and the housing, the bulbs have an 81,000 hour life. And that's if you were burning them constantly, which is multiple years. So so the technology will last a long time, and this will be something that will stay up there for a long time. And the JPA, as you saw from Brandon, is financially very well set and financially safe. And at some point, if they can't pay the bills, we'll make adjustments at that point. But right now, that doesn't seem to be in the future.
Uh-huh. So your budget could pick up something like that if you had to?
This isn't an annual cost. This is a single cost. So it's install it once, and that's the cost of it.
And how long did you say it's going to last?
If you take 81,000 divided by probably 1,500 hours per year, you're going to be into the 12, 15, 18-year range, depending on how much they're used. And at that point, after 81,000 hours, the bulb doesn't stop working. The LED units don't stop. They go from 100% capacity to 95% capacity, so the life lives beyond that.
Was there a reason why a Iowa company was chosen?
They were the lowest responsible bidder.
Okay, the lowest
Yes,
for price?
yes. And as I said before, 19 companies and different representatives showed up to the pre-bid.
Nobody local could come up with it?
This is local. We consider that Musco, who is the probably the premier company for lighting
1 minute.
sports facilities and stadiums across the country. They're out of Oskaloosa, Iowa, and that allows us, we feel very fortunate that they're so close, because if we have any issues, they'll be able to do service in a very quick time frame.
Okay, thank you.
Tom, you said that there was one company in Ontario, Canada that was using LED lights at the time the arena was built.
Yeah, there was one venue. It was a hockey venue, yep.
Okay. Yeah, I misspoke, I apologize. What percentage of arenas now use LED and are going through the same?
80, 90%.
Hi.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Ryan Weiss, Director of Ops for Pinnacle Bank Arena. Most of the NHL buildings and NBA buildings are all going through the whole LED process right now. I mean, they've just done Dallas Stars, Washington Capitals, a lot of those buildings. So a lot of the US 32 teams are converting over to LED. As well as when Baxter Arena opened in Omaha, they also went with Musco, and they're all LED. Devaney Sports Center just went to LED as well, and so did the stadium. So it continues to go year in, year out. I know that they're just about to do Toronto, Musco is, and they're going to do probably a dozen more arenas just this year, plus new stadiums, because anybody building a stadium now or an arena are going straight to LED. They're not going any other way.
So the vast majority of facilities built at the time we built the arena are converting to LED, and then all of them from here forward are just going straight to LED.
Correct.
Gotcha. Good.
Thank you.
Okay, would anyone else like to speak to this item? Seeing none, take a motion on item 7.
I would move approval of item number 7.
Second.
Moved by Ward, seconded by Claire. Any further discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Claire?
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. Next item, item number 8, WH 20-11, resolution to amend the 2019-2020 operating budget.
I'm ahead of myself. I was wondering why I was going to see, why are you coming up here?
The board members, you have a budget amendment before you. The primary reason for the amendment to the budget was the costs that were associated with the refunding of the Series 2011 bonds. And those are the bonds that are going to refunding that'll save us net $12.12 million over the remaining life of the bonds. So I'll walk you through some of the adjustments. On the revenue side, we increased the revenue budget by approximately $1.254 million. That was to recognize the good faith deposit that came in, which is a requirement for the underwriter to put down a good faith deposit for the bonds. Then we had a few changes on other services and charges on the expenditure side. We had $329,300 increase for the cost of issuance. So that was the expense to issue the bonds. So, to do that, we have to pay, our municipal advisor, the rating agencies, bond counsel, so various types of costs associated with issuance. We also had a $25,000 consulting contract that was regards to the streetscape for the Olson Phase 2. So there's an increase in regards to that. And then there was an increase in other services and charges of $18,174. And that was for it was for a DLG design contract, which was approved by the board. That was to look at some adjustments at the arena for, I think it was potentially looking at the ticket office situation, and then, you know, if we could put a conduit in to run cables through so we wouldn't have trip hazards. So various designs within that. And capital outlay, there was an increase, you could see, and that was basically a rollover cost from the prior year that we didn't catch during the budget process. So that was for the demolition cost of the Jacobson building. So instead of that, we had it budgeted in the prior year, but the payment didn't come until the current year. So we're just increasing the budget to adjust for that payment. Debt service, there's an adjustment there, increase 8.55 million, and that was basically for the cash contribution in order for us to refund the outstanding bonds. Then we had an adjustment on the expense side of the 1.254 million that came in on the revenue side for good faith deposit. We had to pay that 1.254 back out to the escrow agent for bond closing cost. So in total, there's an increase of $7,334,286 for an amended expenditure budget of $36,923,148 compared to the prior budget of $29,588,862. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
But after those adjustments, the net savings is north of $12 million.
Yes, for the bonds.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Would anyone like to testify on this item? We'll take any public comment. Okay, seeing none, please entertain a motion.
I would move adoption of item number 8.
Second.
Moved by Ward, seconded by Claire. Any further discussion of item number 8? All right, please call the roll.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Claire?
Yes.
Motion carried, 3-0. Next item, item number 9, WH 20-12. Resolution to approve change order number 1 to the contract agreement between the West Haymarket JPA and Nemaha Landscape Construction for Olson Streetscape improvements pursuant to bid number 19-245 for an additional amount of $1,250.
Adam Holbeinrich, PC Sports. We're working on the, I had to double check this is the right one. We're working on the Oscar Streetscape project or Olson Streetscape project along their building. We found a conduit box that is right where we needed to put some paving. It was damaged and needed to be replaced. The origins of that damage were unknown, so this $1,250 is the cost to replace the damaged box, so we put it in the right way. So kind of a unknown condition that we are addressing. And recommend approval. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Pretty straightforward. Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to testify on this item? All right, I entertain a motion on item number 9.
I move approval of item number 9.
Second.
Moved by Ward, second by Claire. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Claire?
Yes.
Motion carried, 3-0. Next item, item number 10, WH 20-13. Resolution to approve design amendment number 1 to the contract between the West Haymarket JPA and Olson Inc. for Project Oscar 2.0 Streetscape improvements to incorporate Phase 200 Oscar 2.0 Streetscape testing, to incorporate all mileage and expenses into the contract value, and to extend the contract time to October 31st, 2020.
This one is related to a design agreement we have with Olson for the Oscar Streetscape project. We are currently under budget, and we're looking to incorporate some quality testing for that streetscape, as well as incorporating mileage and expenses were excluded in their original agreement for the $18,100 that the contract was for. We're making sure that that is included in that $18,100, any expenses or mileage they would have there. And then also with the Block 4 delay with the development that's now going again, we're just looking to extend the agreement for a few more months, so that way if we have any design adjustments we need to do, we can handle it at that point in time. But at no time is this increasing the current contract value.
Okay. Any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Yep.
Would anyone like to speak to this item? All right. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion on item number 10.
I move approval of item number 10.
Second.
All right, item number 10, moved by Ward, second by Claire. Any further discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Claire?
Yes.
Motion carried, 3-0.
All right, our next meeting date will be Tuesday, March 31st, 2020 at 1:30 p.m. in this same room, council chambers, the first floor of the city county building. And with that, I take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ward and seconded by Claire. Please call the roll.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Claire?
Yes.
We are adjourned.